Namaskar. Acharya Prashant ji, my first question is, who or what is Acharya Prashant?
A person, as a fact, a person. Seeking his own liberation in the only way possible, by sensitizing others to their own liberation. So that's an answer at one particular level. There could be several other answers in other contexts, other ways. I suppose this one would do to begin with.
And when you say Acharya Prashant is a person, what does it mean? What does that represent really?
A human being with the consciousness that seeks fulfillment. So, a human being like any other, like all of us.
Do we all seek answers?
Does everybody seek answers? I mean, there is a question in front of me, and that is the answer.
Are you a single child?
No. I have a brother, I have a sister.
How was your relationship with your siblings?
Usual. Nothing special there either.
But then you sort of were also liked your space where you could just read and think.
Yes.
And your siblings did not intrude into that space.
They were not too fond of books. So if I am with books, that keeps them away. So, I used to actually help them with their academics. So they had their own interests. So that's how it used to happen.
And school, friends, teachers, how did they see you?
Academically, I was always doing well. Top 2 in the class. And after class 6th or 7th, I was regularly topping. In fact, the distance between me and the next one just kept increasing. So academically, I was always doing well, but then...
So you liked competition, did you?
Oh, I was very competitive.
You were?
Oh, very competitive.
So there was this drive, drive into the mad race.
But at the same time, I was comparing myself, or I was competing not so much with the classmates or batchmates. I was competing more with the question paper. So that is the reason why I would often not be satisfied, even if the marks appeared good. I was very...
Was that because of conditioning at home?
See, at home, obviously, you see, there was emphasis on academics, but then that kind of incentivization or encouragement was given to all three of us. It's not that parents were hell-bent on producing toppers. Obviously, they wanted that I do well, all three of us do well. But it was not to the extent of craziness or something. Yes, because the expectations from me were higher, so if I won't do well, then I would be looked at with a sterner eye. That much was there, but not much beyond that. In school, I was also quite mischievous, very mischievous.
Yeah.
So,
What did you do?
a lot of things. So, the teachers would be in a curious space. On one hand, they would want to make me the head of the house or the class monitor or such things. On the other hand, they would find themselves compelled to punish me. So the monitor would be found standing outside the class quite a few times. And then the teacher won't know what to do, because on one hand she has to present me as something of a role model. Look at his marks, how well he is doing, how sincere he is. On the other hand, I have to be disciplined, because when I was not with books, I was not very controllable. When I was with books, I was quite sedated, just immersed in the text. When not with books, then the energy would violate a few norms. So there would be punishments, scoldings, and
One mischief that you did, you still regret.
one mischief that I still regret. Oh, that was a bad one.
Okay, let's hear.
If I disclose that, I mean, it would be the first disclosure of its kind.
Okay, let's hear this on this show. Let it be.
You have seen class teachers' attendance registers?
Yes.
Huh? The big ones. So, I'll keep to myself some of the details so that I don't become too obvious. So, there was my class teacher, and because I was mischievous, she didn't quite like me. And her situation was worsened by the fact that she could not absolutely admonish me, because she was the English teacher and I was doing quite well in English. She used to teach Shakespeare. I think I've disclosed it all. Anyway. So, the English period used to lie just before the lunch break. And that's when she would come, being the class teacher, call for attendance and do these things. So one day she left the attendance register behind.
Okay.
And she's gone and it's lunch break. So I open my lunch box and there is a pakoda there, oozing oil or ghee, whatever it was. And you know how much class teachers love their attendance registers, right? How nicely they maintain them and how important those registers are. Oh, I hate disclosing all this.
Come on.
So I take the pakoda, keep it on the attendance register. It was lying open, and I close the register. And just to complete the formalities, keep a thick book over the place where the pakoda was. Didn't want to leave things to chance. So
You wanted to ensure that it was spoiled.
right. So she returns and finds this thing done, and I was clever enough to ensure that nobody had seen me doing all that. So After the lunch break, we had, I suppose, geography or history period. And I was good at geography and history. The teacher liked me. And the class teacher comes rushing, steaming in, all red, furious. And it's a geography period, but she comes and says, all of you stand up and raise your hands, both the hands. So everybody stands like that. And she does that and says, I want to know who did this, and unless I get to know that, you all will stand like this. And she retires to the teacher's room. But the teacher in charge in that period is somebody else. And now the whole class is standing there like this, and only one person knows for sure who has done that. And that one boy is shell-struck. What have I done? So he is the most silent of all. Others are taking time to gossip or look around or do something. So the geography teacher says, all right, you all can't stand this way whole afternoon, and those of you who are keeping silent will be allowed to sit down. So
You got away with that.
no, wait. Now, in between, one of the girls from my class, and she had her own grudges against me.
Oh,
So
you
she-
hit on her. Okay.
Not exactly, but
All right.
it was in fact the opposite.
Oh, okay. She
So-
was hitting on you, but you were not interested.
So she had meanwhile gone to the English teacher, the class teacher, and whispered to her that the kind of oil that is there in your register, ma'am, I think Prashant was the one who had brought pakoras today. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I'm just sharing with you that
Okay.
he had brought pakoras today.
Oh.
So the class teacher, who was anyway not very fond of me, had already my name as a suspect. So she comes after half an hour and finds the entire class standing like this, and only one fellow had been allowed to sit down. And he was sitting and reading, and the entire class was standing. So, no, she just blew up.
Okay.
And she said, but he is the prime suspect. Now that became some kind of an encroachment on the authority of the other teacher, because it was her period, her time. So she said, but he has been standing so still and keeping so quiet. I have no option. He has to sit. So that created a bit of a funny situation. I tried to lock my lips so that I am not seen laughing. Even in that moment I was, but that strained my relationship with my class teacher for the rest of the year. So that's not something I think I should have done.
So
if
that you
she's-
deeply regret now.
Not deeply, it's all right. I mean, so if she happens to watch this, sorry ma'am, that was me. That was me, and I
Finally,
don't think
the confession comes.
The confession comes, and I don't think I should have done that.
Okay. Acharya ji, from this mischievous boy, a studious boy, to college days, did you hit on girls, later women?
Didn't find too many worth it. So just like any other boy, I had my attractions, and there was not much in them, mostly physical kind. So if a girl appears attractive of body and voice and manners, mostly of body, so there is a particular attraction. So that was that. Nothing remarkable, nothing worth noting. All that was happening. I mean, it happens with everybody. Yeah, nothing significant
Did
there.
did you never find any woman who was spiritually your worthy, or whose spirit attracted you?
No. I found a few innocent ones. I could go to them and speak to them of things that mattered, and they were remarkable, important, because they were innocent, because they could listen. But even that listening stops after a point. Not everybody is interested in going too far on the spiritual road, too far down the spiritual road. So I suppose those people have to be created. You can't get them in the marketplace. You can't get them just randomly somewhere in the world roaming. It's a rare and precious thing, such a human being. And that's what I learned. The one who is worthy of being loved is actually someone you will have to create, because on their own they probably do not exist. At least I didn't find them hanging somewhere to be just picked up. So I said, fine, if they don't exist, let's create them, let's raise them.
So are you really saying that man and woman are ordained to have fickle relationships?
Exactly. Very well said. Very well said, yes.
So there can be no real love between a man and a woman?
I do not know who I am. She does not know who she is. Where is the question of love? I mean, two unconscious people just stuttering down their unconscious paths, and randomly they happen to bump into each other. Is that love? Obviously not. So nothing.
I'm going to go to the very fundamental question, because what you are saying is probably very complicated for most people in the world. Most people understand the idea of love. But you seem to reject that. You seem to say that it's all superficial, it's fickle. What is love? What the rest of the world is experiencing, and you are saying that it's not there.
See, I'm rejecting the idea, not love. So what the world has is an idea of love. And if love is an idea, then it's something very small and quite rotten. So where do ideas come from? All ideas emerge from the ego to fulfill the superficial desires of the ego. So if love is an idea, you will be looking at the other. It could be someone from the other gender, it could be a little kid, it could be an animal. Or as people say, I love chicken. When you want to really sink your teeth into something, you say you love it. So it could be a food item. Whatever you would be looking at that thing just from the perspective of fulfillment of your desire. And that's what...
Is it so wrong to have desires?
Would you want to be exploited for somebody's desire?
I am the seeker of answers.
Please. Would you want to be? Nobody wants to be exploited so that the other can fulfill his base desires. I might be prepared to sacrifice myself if my sacrifice helps the other, right? But if I am an object of somebody's desire, then even after swallowing myself whole, he would still be unfulfilled. So my life has gone and he has achieved nothing out of my so-called sacrifice. So there is nothing in this love. Nothing in this love. Man looks at woman to appease himself. Woman looks at man again to appease herself. And the two of them are in a lifelong mutually exploitative relationship. Of what good is all this? And we don't want to face this, acknowledge this. We want to pretend as if all is hunky-dory.
If everybody becomes so enlightened as you are, people will probably not fall in love, people will probably not reproduce, people will probably not follow their biological mandate.
When people are wise, that's the only time they can be in love. Wisdom and love go together. So what you are saying, on the contrary, when you know who you are, when you have some insight into yourself, that's when you become capable of love for the first time. Most people spend their entire lives not loving, not because they didn't find someone worthy enough to be loved, but because they were fundamentally incapable of loving anything. Among couples, this sometimes goes. One of them would ask, "Oh, do you love me?" That should not even be the question. The question should be, are you capable of loving anything, anybody? The fact is, neither of them are capable of loving. So how? It's unjust to ask such a person, "Are you loving me?" The fellow has no faculty to love. And that faculty has to be learnt. It has to be awakened. And that's the proper purpose of education. But our education does not teach us what real love is. So what do we have? We have animalistic love. And we think of that as the only love possible. The result is a very loveless society, a loveless earth that we have.
You seem to have insight into yourself, and you're constantly seeking this path. But you're still saying that are you actually saying that you're incapable of love? Did you never feel that you are capable of love regardless of what the other person is?
This very discussion is an exercise in love. How can I be incapable of love? Had I been incapable of love, I wouldn't have been sitting here. I lost my father a few days back. What makes you think would bring me to this chair? It's love. It's just that we have been so dulled down by the conventional images and definitions of love that we do not realize true love, even if it is right there in our face, even if it is right there. So a great lover, Christ, for example, what do we do to him? We don't even see that he loves us. And all the wise men, they are just lovers, but we forget them, we ignore them, right? So that's what.
So you love everyone?
Why else would I make myself available to everyone?
Are you available to everyone?
Is there a restriction on who can watch my videos or read my books?
Will you meet everyone?
That's a physical limit, you see. And that also depends on the urge of the person to meet me. I'm available. I suppose last month itself I would have addressed no less than half a dozen gatherings that were open to anybody to attend. So if people want to attend, they can come over, but they'll have to travel. They'll have to take the pains. And that's a thing in love that you do.
So why wouldn't you actually give benefit of doubt to many people who might be in love, in true love, and but you are constantly passing this judgment, saying that, oh, people are not in love. It's only they're chasing their desires. They're constantly being driven by their biological urges, and they are making actually a mess of it.
You look at the facts. Even if you have to pass a judgment, First of all, you want to scrutinize the evidence, right? You look at the facts, you look at what's there on the table. And when you look at the state of the earth, when you look at the mess that we have created, right, there are obvious conclusions.
So love is not possible.
It's unfortunate that love is quite possible, but we deny ourselves.
So how can humanity, how can human species at least make an attempt or get started on this path of love?
This way. This is the way.
Where did this love for reading come from? Is it genetics? Is it something a priori? Is it something that you carried through generations? Where does this initial liking, dislikes, or love or repulsion for things come from?
See, if it can be reasoned out, if a cause can be attributed to it, then it becomes something very little. Then it becomes largely formulaic. If you can know how this child was pulled towards books, then the same formula can be applied to all others. And the moment it gets limited to a formula, it becomes something very small, no? So, at most I can say that I was fortunate to be provided with stuff I could read. But then there are probably a lot of kids who do have access to books and who probably might have access to even richer wisdom material than I had. I would simply say it's a matter of choice. Somewhere you have to stop the chain of causation. You cannot say this happened because this happened, because this happened, because this happened. If that's the way it is, then a computer program can capture it, and an advanced engineering lab can produce thousands of kids using the same formula, thousands of kids with a spiritual bent of mind or an academic bent of mind using the same formula. So I suppose I have to stop at that, just saying that the books were there, and I just preferred reading over any other activity. So.
And your parents helped, encouraged? Was the influence of parents or friends or somebody else there in life, early life? Even though you're insisting that let's not go into the causation, but I'm trying to understand who Acharya Prashant is.
You see, I didn't have too many friends. I did have friends, but that was limited to my school time, and those were not days of the internet. And I didn't have kids, my friends, visiting my home. So I had the opportunity to be with my books for long hours in the day. And it was not merely books pertaining to wisdom or something that I read. I was not training to become a spiritual leader. I was reading from all directions, right? So I would read history, I would read comic strips, all that is available. Anything one can lay his hand on.
So are you conscious or unconscious?
I don't know. One can only try to see what the current condition is. So you keep looking at yourself. There are telltale signs, and You can never reach absolute consciousness, right? It's always a journey. So if you'll ask in binary, conscious or unconscious, I'll modestly say unconscious. Because if I say conscious, that's like violating a principle. To say one is conscious is to say one is absolutely conscious, because only the absolute point deserves to be called a state of consciousness. All else is just a foggy state of the mind in which you know little and you don't know little, and when you don't know everything, it's better to simply say you don't know.
So are you saying, by and large, humanity, what we call humanity, is unconscious or is in the process of gaining consciousness?
Yes, obviously. Humanity is a huge unconscious lot. Huge unconscious lot.
So when we say love or when we say humanity, what are we really referring to? Are we saying that it's a construct? We like to believe that?
We are referring to a species that is born like animals and lives like animals, even though it has a much superior potential. When we talk of human beings, we are really talking of 8 billion animals, that's all, driven by their biological mandate.
So we are mostly driven by our biological mandate.
Obviously. What else is a territorial mind? What else is the insane thirst for a house or a partner or money? What else is all this? All this
But then you also said that humans are special. For us, the test is tougher, and we cannot be seen at the same level as animals because they just follow their biological drive. Humans try to exceed that biological mandate.
Right. See, that's what human beings must do, but that's not what they actually do. And that's why it's rather unfortunate that in spite of the potential, in spite of what is possible, we live like animals. And that's why we are worse than animals. See, animals living like animals are all right. They have no option. But human beings living like animals are a disgrace because they had an option.
Is it really within our control, within our limits, to have that choice, which you repeatedly refer to as the conscious choice? Do you think we are at that stage, that level of evolution, or whatever you would like to call it, where we can actually access that conscious mind?
You see, what is a question? A question is a choice, right? I could have said, I don't know and I don't need to know. But what do I say? I don't know, but I must know. So the possibility to inquire and know is always there. Else there can be no questions possible. So it's not a matter of the stage of evolution. It's not even a matter of one's upbringing or economic conditions or social conditioning, none of that. As a human being, the option to do better, to inquire, to know, to not to proceed without understanding is always there.